live from Studio 6B on a Thursday, March 14th, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. Slick Rick's got some sports. Rick Delgado's got the news. David Zier got the news as well. Host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings. We'll find out what's coming up this Saturday here in a second. Glad you're in. Lots to do tonight. John Solomon is going to join us at 8:17. We're going to try to keep Mr. Solomon through about 8:40 or so because he had an absolute doozy of a piece today at Just the News. Of course, it's the first place you should go every day, justthenews.com. And it is quite the read. It is quite the story. And Mr. Solomon's going to, and it caught a lot of attention today. So Mr. Solomon's going to join us to go over that, talk about some of the attention it drew today and what is to follow. So we'll talk to him. Slick, how are you?
Doing good tonight, Big D. How are you?
Very good. Looking good in that.
Another pink.
Nice pink.
Yes, pink plaid.
Looking good, looking good. I saw some of your bird videos today. I was on Instagram, and I came across a couple. So this is wild.
They're rock stars, those guys.
Man, oh man, they are rock stars, is right.
Big time. Good dudes.
Yeah.
Good dudes. You call your birds dudes?
Yes, sir.
Rick Delgado, how are you?
Pretty good. Having a good day.
You are also a rock star, according to some.
Why? What did I do? What did I do now?
You don't have a beak to hang on, but
I don't have a what?
But he's out of his bird, though.
but you are officially out of your bird, so that's good.
Oh no, I got
How
a beak.
was your day?
I got a beak, all right.
Okay.
Okay.
It was good. It was gorgeous. Gorgeous outside.
Yeah.
Love this kind of weather.
I said to my wife, these 20-degree swings from like 64, 65 in the middle of the day to 40 at night. It's like I'm wearing shorts, and then I'm like, no, I'm freezing.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, you know what? It reminds me of my time in Northern California. That's the way it was. You had this, 60 to 70 degrees during the day, and at night it dropped to 40, but you'd only need a light jacket. And it was gorgeous all the time. So if it could be like this every day, that would be ideal.
I think a little warmer on both ends would be good. Like 80 and 58, 60. That would be perfect.
All right, well,
basically like San Diego.
Put your order in to the big guy and see what happens.
All right, I will. David Zier, host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. Saturday mornings. Mr. Zier, how are you?
I'm great, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Busy news cycle, as usual. Incredible rush hour shooting in New York City.
I saw that.
Today on the subway.
Where's Daniel Perry when you need him?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, he's in jail.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So I got a lot of stuff for you tonight, and we're going to bring you the latest and greatest. So
what's coming up on Breaking Point this Saturday?
Got an exciting show on Saturday morning. Tomorrow at 8:45, I'll be on about Joy Reid's incredible comments that the illegal immigration crimes are negligible. I've got many, many examples, which I'm going to share tonight, where that it's not negligible. People being murdered and raped and all kinds of stuff.
I mean, just the sentence alone makes zero sense.
Yeah, it's really despicable. But then I got Jason Nelson, who ran for Congress in the 17th District in Texas. He's a U.S. Army and Marine veteran, about the border. And then I've got Tim Rivers on, J6. He wrote the American Gulag Chronicles, letters from J6 prisoners. He's got great insight in all that's happening, and all this stuff is coming to a head that is exonerating or has the potential to exonerate many J6ers. There's so much going on. Hidden transcripts revealed, all the lies are coming out. And then I have Harley Littman, the real story on the ground, and he helped write the Abraham Accords, Middle East Peace Accords, about what's really going on in Israel and the truth about why there's so many casualties in Gaza, Hamas, and Schumer's incredible speech, which we'll get into tonight, right?
I mean, he's such a slime ball. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
Now, Chuck Schumer would never just think about this. When have you ever seen Chuck Schumer go to the floor and talk about anything remotely close to like what he did today? He like his party, and like a lot in his party, is a self-hating Jew.
Yeah.
He hates Israel as much as he hates America. Usually if you hate one, you hate the other. It's kind of goes hand in hand. You hate America, you hate Israel, you hate Israel, you hate America. He's one of them. He is one of them. He is part of the Hamas wing of the Democrat Party. He obviously at this point now stands with the terrorists. from his speech today. I don't know how you can look at it any other way. He has joined the Hamas wing of the Democrat Party, him, Bernie Sanders, and a lot of them. And his speech today, now, meanwhile, every day you can go find something that shows how Biden has not only aided and abetted Iran, which, of course, in turn has aided and abetted Hamas, but you will never hear Chuck Schumer take to the floor to give a speech about something like that. He will never go down and say, I'm warning this, unfreezing this money is a dangerous. He doesn't even have to call Biden out. But he'll go to the floor today to try to say that Israel needs to demand a new election to get rid of Netanyahu. And think about if a foreign country had called for George W. Bush to be removed after 9/11, and what we would have thought of a move like that. I mean, it's just a disgrace. He's a disgrace of the lowest form.
Yeah, and you know what? It's amazing that because when I saw it, I'm like, wait, what? And I had to stop and read the article and watch it, and it's just amazing. I'm like, what? So let me get this straight. Chuck Schumer, leader of the Senate Majority Leader. He's the longest tenured, I think, senator. That's
a Jewish senator from New York.
Right, but is he calling for the overthrow of the government of one of our staunchest allies? Is that what is that as simple as you could put it? He's actually, fomenting an overthrow of our allies' leader.
This is all a ploy to win Michigan and Minnesota.
That's absolutely
it ain't gonna
right.
Work.
That is the sickest part of it all, is what David just said. Chuck Schumer's not even smart enough to know what the hell's going on in Israel and Gaza and what Bibi Netanyahu is actually even doing. He has no clue. This is all politics. That is exactly right. Because he's not smart enough to figure all this out and go there and make this speech based on what he thinks is going on. This is about Michigan, Minnesota. This is about votes. That's what makes it extra sick. You're absolutely right.
I talked to Harley Littman about this today, and it'll be on Breaking Point. And I said, regardless of Netanyahu only being in a coalition government and, could be unelected or thrown out at some point, he's engaged in war. And I asked, what is the resolve of the Israeli people? And he said, until they go into that next district where there's many battalions of Hamas, Israel is not going to stop. There's a full court press. And that we cannot allow them to stop. They have to finish the job here because there's no two-state solution that Hamas believes in, unlike Schumer.
No.
They have a one-only state solution for restoring the caliphate around the world.
Yeah, Schumer's part of the from the river to the sea crowd.
Yeah.
Now.
He should just put a T-shirt on that says that because that's what he believes.
Yeah.
And it's insane when you stop and think about it.
What cut is that, Aaron? Cut 2? This moron, I don't even want to play it, but I guess we should in case people didn't see it. I took just the most relevant part. Roll that.
On the Israeli side, the U.S. government should demand that Israel conduct itself with a future two-state solution in mind. We should not be forced into a position of unequivocally supporting the actions of an Israeli government that include bigots who reject the idea of a Palestinian state. Israel is a democracy. 5 months into this conflict, it is clear that Israelis need to take stock of the situation and ask, must we change course? At this critical juncture, I believe a new election is the only way to allow for a healthy and open decision-making process about the future of Israel. At a time when so many Israelis have lost their confidence in the vision and direction of their government.
No.
Well, there's nothing about that that's true. How does he? Again, he's not smart enough to know any of this. Whoever wrote that for him, he's just acting as the front man because of where Biden stands in the election. That's it.
Yeah, and you could tell he didn't know what that said until he read it. Maybe he grazed over it the first time, but he had to make sure he was at the right spot in the page to continue that speech he was giving. And it's amazing. He points out, 5 months into this conflict. Oh my goodness, Chuck, that's so long. How quickly did you make this speech about Ukraine? which is
Why
now
haven't you called
over
for
2
him?
years.
Yeah, exactly.
Jamie Girl in our chat reminded us maybe we should revoke his dual citizenship with Israel. Schumer.
You know what? I would think that Netanyahu should make that move. Say, you know what? We don't need people like you.
We don't. Yeah,
attached
exactly.
to our country.
We don't need people who are getting cheered tonight from the enemy. We don't need that, because that's what he is tonight.
And what's amazing, when you stop and think about it, because it just popped in my head when you said he's being cheered by the enemy. If he were to walk among the enemy, they would cut him down. And I mean that in a violent physical sense. They would see him as the enemy, even though he's cheering for them. And that's what most of these idiots on the left who support Hamas, gays for Hamas, they would throw you from buildings. They don't care. They're like Ricky Gervais at the Oscars. They don't care. And that's the same with them. They don't care. They'll take your support, and then they'll stab you. It's as simple as that. That's what you're dealing with. Those are the type of animals. Yet this idiot is there going, we should get a change of leadership. We should overthrow the government of Israel, as he says it from the Senate floor.
Israelis are feeling this way or that way. He doesn't know how they're feeling. Quite frankly, they seem pretty unified behind Bibi, if you want to know the truth. So Chuck Schumer knows nothing of what he speaks of. He's just a slime.
I'm not so sure. I think everything he does is a calculated, manipulative move, knowing that at any time he can go back on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you said, it's all political. He doesn't feel one way or another. I don't think he really cares one way or another.
He has no conscience.
He's like Biden, just checks the wind and see what's going. What do I need votes? What do I need?
Right. What are the Jewish communities around Michigan and Minnesota really thinking? Let's throw Chuck out there to really just throw himself out there, and he can just make the plea. And that's what this is, all politics from Schumer, because they see the numbers in Michigan, they see the numbers. And now they're trying to figure out what to do. Chuck Schumer is doing the dirty work for the Hamas caucus of the Democrat Party today. That's what he's doing.
And even in the Washington state primaries for the Democratic primary the other night, I think the pro-Palestinian vote took away 8.5% from Biden. The unaffiliated voters. So,
again, you'll never hear Chuck Schumer go to the floor and give a speech. Well, certainly about our border and what's going on, but you'll never hear him give a speech about Iran, what this administration has done to free up money, sanctions, all of the things they've done to enable what happened on October 7th. He'll never give any speeches about that, but he goes out there and does what he does there today. Really just despicable. All right, 13 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. John Solomon will join us when we get back right after this. All right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. We are going to connect here with Mr. Solomon as soon as he is available. But in the meantime, we'll do some sports and news while we wait for him. We'll start with sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Use our code LFS6B at checkout. You can get the shirt of the month absolutely free. Send your receipts into LFS6B at yahoo.com, as many of you continue to do. We'll send out those Trump 2024 shirts. Slick Rick, what's going on?
All right, Big D, first order of business on the Get It Chat, Nick 387. Happy birthday tonight. Nick, one of our best viewers, 37 years old, Big D. We're probably the youngest in our audience.
Nick 387 is 37?
37. Wow. Bless his heart.
He's a riot.
He's a good guy.
We love Nick.
Great,
He's funny.
We love Nick. So happy birthday, Nick. Enjoy
happy birthday,
many more.
Nick.
Good kid. NCAA men's basketball, Big D, getting down to Selection Sunday, just a couple of days away, and they're getting all the Big 12 championships and the Big East tournaments. So let's have the scores rolling tonight. Number 7, Iowa State right now leading Kansas State 34-27 at the half. Providence over Creighton 33-30 also at the half. NC State right now leading Duke. A little bit of an upset there, 39-32. 18 to go in the second half. UConn took care of business, blowing out Xavier. That'd be number 2 UConn, Big D, 87-60. Took them by 27. North Carolina took care of Florida State 92-67. That'd be number 4. North Carolina Tar Heels looking good as well. Texas Tech over BYU 81-67. Arizona, number 6 Arizona, wiping out USC 70-49. That'd be the Arizona. That'd be the state that's hosting the Final Four this year in Glendale, Big D. Utah.
All right, Slick, hold it right there because we got John now. I want to get to John because I know he's busy tonight. Please welcome the founder and editor-in-chief of Just the News, Mr. John Solomon. Mr. Solomon, how are you?
I'm good. I was getting up on all my March Madness. I was taking notes as you guys were rolling there.
Get that bracket ready, John.
There you go.
Got to get to my bookie. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Odds making.
I don't have
John,
one. I don't have a bookie. I'm joking.
No. Please.
Please, just the news.
It's just the news. Just the news.
Exactly. Just the news. I got to stay out of comedy. I'm not good at comedy. I got to stay away from
Hey, neither are we. Don't worry.
We don't want to be responsible for ruining anything here.
That's right.
Well, you dropped a doozy of a piece, I guess, last night or this morning. So before I give you some of my thoughts, and it is a doozy. It's quite a read, and you got to really kind of understand it. And I know it's caught a lot of traction today. So before you tell me the traction it's caught and kind of what's come from it and what you think is going to come, why don't you give the audience kind of an overview of what you reported on today?
Yeah, well, his father was a sitting president while Joe Biden was still Obama's VP. Hunter Biden worked with his business partners to try to effectuate the sale of one of America's prize companies, one of our famous brand names for the last century, Westinghouse. They were trying to sell it to the Chinese because the Chinese wanted the crown jewel of our nuclear reactors. Now, this is extraordinary for many reasons. We're going to report tomorrow that for 2 years before Hunter Biden went this route, the United States government, the Obama administration, the CIA, the Justice Department, the FBI knew that China was trying to obtain this nuclear reactor technology illicitly. They actually indicted 5 Chinese military hackers who cracked into Westinghouse trying to steal the plans for the AP-1000. This is this nuclear reactor that was a game changer in the industry starting in the early 2000s. It was American innovation in Westinghouse that developed it, a really small reactor that could do as much power as the old-fashioned big reactors. Everybody in the world wanted it. It was the envy of the world. China tried to hack its way into getting it. It couldn't do that. And so then it looked like it went a different route. Well, let's try the influence peddling route. And they reached out to Hunter Biden and his business partners, and Hunter Biden and his business partners tried to arrange a way that they would be 2 cutouts, but that China would essentially own Westinghouse, but it would be blinded to most people because there were cutouts. And in their documentation, as they're corresponding back and forth with the Chinese energy company, an energy company that they themselves, Hunter Biden and James Biden, 2 of the people working on this, the son and brother of the current president, both knew that this company they were working with, CEFC China, was tied directly to the communist regime. Hunter Biden once referenced that one of the guys he was working with at CEFC was the blanking spy chief. I'll keep it clean, but he was a spy chief. At least Hunter Biden thought he was. And then the other, James Biden, told the FBI, I knew all along that CFC's chairman, the head, the chairman of the board, the guy in charge of the company, was directly tied to Chinese President Xi. So they knew this was directly tied to the Chinese Communist government, and there they are trying to effectuate the sale. Now, the good news is for America, they never were very competent at getting any of this work done, and so China didn't buy it. But the mere fact that the United States government knew and had to be watching that the son of a vice president was trying to take one of our nuclear reactor crown jewels and find a way to get it to China so that they could corner the market. They used the word control, that if China would get this, we're going to help China control the nuclear energy market for years to come. Think about that. A U.S. vice president's son trying to help China put the United States at a disadvantage and control the global nuclear market. That's what these documents show.
I mean, first of all, it sounds like a James Bond movie. But number one, number two, how is this not on the easiest side a FARA violation, and on the worst side treason?
These are questions that I think James Comer is going to have to ask. And just a few hours after we reported this morning, and by the way, James Comer, Jim Jordan, Jason Smith, the three-headed impeachment team, they are the ones who were able to recover these documents. And by the way, they also did some interviews with one of Hunter Biden's business partners, Rob Walker, who said the Chinese were led to believe that Hunter Biden was running this whole thing because the Chinese wanted to make sure that the Biden family were going to deliver on this. So Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's name are associated. The Chinese think they're dealing with the Bidens and the Bidens only. Just a few hours after we did this and the good work that they've done and work we've done, James Comer announced something pretty dramatic. He's expanding his investigation into all the ways that China has infiltrated the United States. And this is almost certainly going to tie all the way back to Hunter Biden's 2013 trip to Beijing on Air Force Two, the CEFC dealings, which included both taking our natural gas and our nuclear reactors away from us, and more recent decisions by Joe Biden, like shutting down the FBI's main espionage program against China. Why would any American president shut that down? Lots of questions, and I think we're going to learn a lot about why those military-age Chinese men are crossing the border. Comer says he's going to get to the bottom of that, and so much more. The role that China has played in facilitating the fentanyl trafficking. And I have a funny feeling, I'm hearing some rumors that there's some connections to some of the Chinese people that the Bidens were dealing with that might even have some connections to fentanyl. We'll see if that checks out over the next few weeks. But this has now become a major new avenue for the Oversight Committee, and I think it will merge directly into the impeachment before spring gets here.
Now, a couple of things here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Westinghouse at the time was owned by Toshiba. Was it not a Japanese company?
Right. It's a Japanese-owned but American-based subsidiary, which means it was controlled by American law.
Okay, but you figured they would not have straight up just sold it to China and let them get into the energy markets like that. Number one, what it would have provided them just clout around the world to be able to get into that market like that, you would figure they would have never done. But the idea that the son of the sitting president this is 2016, not that long ago, was trying to facilitate this deal to give them access to our small nuke program, and to do it in a way to try to hide it and put like this barrier, like you said, this face is really, I mean, it's just absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and also they knew that the goal was to give China the dominant position in the market. We would be beholden to under the Democratic era of Obama followed by Biden, one extraordinary truism, it's the focus of my book, Fallout, is that those two Democratic administrations have made America significantly more reliant on our two biggest adversaries in the world, Russia and China, for nuclear energy and nuclear power. Just think about that. Why would they do that? The answer has never been clear to us.
I got one more before I let the guys take a shot here too.
Sure.
This makes me wonder, when I read this, the first thing I thought about, besides some of the things we've already talked about, was we just got done with Robert Hur's testimony, and we hear that these documents are all strung all over the place in all these locations. And boy, I have a hard time wondering if some of these documents relating to maybe something like this were not found in there. Like, would we ever know that?
You have drawn a circle around one of the most important bullseyes left for the impeachment inquiry to get to. I think there are two very important areas. One of them is What documents did Joe Biden have in his home? Were Hunter Biden's fingerprints ever on them? That's a question no one ever asked at the hearing, but you would think they did a fingerprint analysis to see who had access to them, right? Those are questions that the committee has to do, and I think quickly. The second one is every national security expert who read this story today and called me, or who I brought on my podcast or the TV show tonight, we had Victoria Coates on tonight, they said it is impossible that the CIA would not have known and the FBI would not have known that Hunter Biden was up to these shenanigans. Why? Because they already knew China had tried to hack their way into this. Now Joe Biden's son is helping to try to help them buy into this. It's not possible that Joe Biden, they say, these are the experts saying, it was not possible Joe Biden didn't get a defensive briefing, which means Joe Biden would have been told, hey, Joe, your son is trying to help China get one of our crown jewels. Keep an eye on him. And Joe Biden didn't stop it. In fact, a few months after he left the vice presidency, he met with these very guys. He met with the chairman of the company that was trying to do this nuclear deal. What message does that send that a sitting vice president who almost certainly had to have been warned then goes and meets with the Chinese officials? Those defensive briefings, I think, could be explosive evidence for everyday Americans. A lot of this story is complicated with the Bidens, right? You get all these names and countries and details and transactions that are 5 or 6 hops and LLCs. It would be very simple for the American people to say, Joe Biden got warned and he still let his son go make millions off of bad actors. If that becomes the focal point of the impeachment inquiry, it could change a lot of minds in Congress and a lot of minds in the country.
I feel like we went through this with the SARS reports from all the banking back then. Remember they said that they went to him and said, hey, buddy, your son's making it real hard for us to deal. It's kind of the same thing.
I think so. And now we're at a much higher stakes game when you know nuclear technology transfers might be at the heart of the China deal. Natural gas transfers to China at the heart of the China deal. Remember what we reported last week, that Joe Biden's Justice Department indicts an Ukrainian oligarch, and immediately within a few months, Hunter Biden's in there saying, give me $5 million. I can unindict you. I'll get my dad to drop the indictment. Think about how audacious that is. There's no chance the FBI, the CIA, and by the way, most of our foreign enemies' intelligence agencies didn't know this. They had to have had the Biden family over a barrel.
Wow. Hey, John, real quick. And I had another question, but since you mentioned the that stuff about the Joe Biden getting a briefing and the CIA obviously knowing about this as well as the FBI, that would mean that who was his boss? Obama. Wouldn't he have gotten a briefing too? Wouldn't he know all of this?
It had to have, right? Remember, we belatedly learned in Russia collusion that that Biden and Obama attended one of the big briefings when they were scheming. How can we keep this going? We don't have any evidence, but we want to hamstrung Donald Trump at the beginning of his presidency and get rid of Mike Flynn. And they all met in the White House, and Barack Obama's right there, chairman of the board, sitting right there doing it. So absolutely, I think those are all very legitimate questions. I think the first thing is these are national security experts saying the way the government works, Biden got a briefing. We have to go find that briefing. We have to ascertain that. I'm working on litigation in FOIAs right now to try to get to the bottom of that. I think Congress will jump in as well. But you're right, Barack Obama, he might not have wanted to get involved in it, but he would have had to have known. They would have had to say, hey, buddy, your VP and his son, man, they're making a mess out there.
Right. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a leap here, John, and see if you know where I'm going with this or if it makes any sense. Damon will probably say I'm out of my tree, but that's okay. Do you think that the exiting of certain House members, such as a Ken Buck, and how he alluded to maybe 3, possibly 5 more House Republicans leaving, like surprisingly leaving, and all of a sudden handing the gavel over to Hakeem Jeffries on the Democratic side could be a motive behind this to stop these investigations. Because, like you said, James Comer is going to be, wielding some more questions, and he's going to have some more investigations. Do you think that maybe this is a play by those deep state? Who knows? I don't know if Ken Buck's involved. I don't know, or if these other guys are involved.
Ken Buck has always been an anti-China guy. And I got to tell you, sadly, I don't think most members know how much good evidence that they have. In fact, just think about this. While I break this story today and I put it out there, the committee's had this evidence since last October. They didn't ask Hunter Biden about it when they had the chance. Think about that. I think most members didn't know. Most members learned today that James Comer and Jim Jordan were sitting on this incredible evidence, or had this evidence in their power. Why? Because the committees are getting fire hose. Right? All this stuff is coming in. It's a paper blizzard. And I don't think most members know to do that. Ken Buck was always an anti-China guy. He was always tough on China. I don't think he would want to give China a pass. He's more just upset that the Freedom Caucus has kept the Congress from doing anything. In his mind, he thinks it's the Freedom Caucus. But, the truth of the matter is it's the appropriators that are keeping Congress from cutting the bill. They just want to keep spending money, and I think he just doesn't want to be part of the charade anymore. But there is a grave danger that if one or two more Republicans pack it in before Election Day, that Democrats could either have shared power or take over the chamber, and that would be a remarkable failure. It would be rescuing defeat from the jaws of victory that the Republicans won in the November 22 election.
Right.
John, great to see you again. Biden positioning for a 10% stake in CEFC. Just as damning is this Hernandez Corporation making windshield technology for U.S. fighter jets, had to go before the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States to get approval. Did that deal go through with the People's Liberation Army in China?
They did. AVIC, a company that the Obama administration considered dangerous, an enemy, an arm of the Chinese military, according to documents that have been out there, they ultimately got that. And you know what state that was taken from? Michigan, the great battleground state of Michigan, the great automakers industry. One of the great things that I think Republicans have to do is educate the state of Michigan and all those voters who went with Trump in 2016, doubled back on Biden on 2020. Joe Biden, for 10 years, has found lots of ways to harm the auto industry in there. The most recent is the electric vehicle mandate, which, by the way, is going to put about 50% of car workers out of a job. Why? EVs have far fewer parts. They don't take as much assembly, and most of the parts come from China. But before that, they took one of the number one auto manufacturers in the country and put it into Chinese hands, which put all the U.S. automakers at a disadvantage. And they also had dual U.S. technology, which meant that now China knows how to make non-vibrating windshields that used to be the envy of the world because we were so much better at it. That's what Hunter Biden did. That's one he succeeded at.
Wow. So, John, just to circle back, obviously, and thanks again for your time, always. What do you think happens from here? I know you, like you said, a lot of people contacted you today. I saw a lot of chatter and talk about this, obviously, on social media. Give us, what do you think happens now?
Well, the ball is going to be in Congress's hands. Can they actually take this ball and run with it and make it stick? It's a very simple story that every American can get, right? But they got to use their power. They didn't use this for the last few months when they had it. It took me getting it out there today to really start to put it front and center. And I think that this is a very powerful story. And tomorrow they're going to learn that before Hunter Biden did it this route, the Chinese were trying to hack their way into it. That's going to show that this was a continuing operation by the Chinese military, and Hunter Biden was in some way becoming part of Chinese efforts. And I think those two stories together, hopefully they'll come back from this retreat, wherever they're at, with the speaker and actually get on top of this. This is a very compelling story, and it's a lot more compelling than some of the things that they've been trying to explain to the American people. It's just so much more simple.
Yeah, you would think they realize they've retreated enough this year, but oh well, we'll see. The great John Solomon. John, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, great to be with you. Love your show, guys.
All right, John Solomon from Just the News. Really just an amazing, unbelievable story. I mean, like I said to him, it's like FARA violations on the least, and it's a treason at worst. And I don't like throwing words like that around, but man, I don't know how you don't listen to that and think, yeah, this is treasonous behavior.
That's it. I mean, you're being kind with the FARA violations. I mean, the only word I thought of was treason. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah.
China you're trying to give our technology to our foe.
Not only trying to do that, but trying to really weasel a deal so that you can put a face on it that no one realizes the deal you just made.
But successful in getting the Chinese People's Liberation Army's fighter jets, a vibration-resistant, cutting-edge, state-of-the-art U.S. fighter jet windshield technology, and taking jobs away from Michigan, American workers. I mean, that's not treason right there.
And by the way, that's like the lower level part of the story.
Right. It's not even the main.
That's not even the main attraction. That didn't even make the billboard. I mean, just really unbelievable. So
yeah, especially when you add the words control. You know, the nuclear market control.
Yeah, we want to corner that'll allow them to corner the market.
Right. To control it. Which is stunning. And then you look back and be like, how many times did he fly on Air Force 2?
22 or something like that, right?
To go to China? Like 5?
Well, yeah, overall, but all these other countries, like 20 plus times, yeah.
Just amazing.
Kazakhstan.
And again, the depressing part of this is John sits there and says, well, they've had this since last October. And in the meantime, they had Hunter Biden in front of them, and this never even came up.
Yeah.
And he just...
It wasn't the time and the place.
Those are the parts that just make most of the American people, if you're going to talk about something the American people can understand and try to keep it simple, those are the things that make at least the Republicans just baffled.
Right.
Just baffled.
And I mean, I can understand because he did say, there's so much coming at them. Okay, what do you trounce out there? I guess you've got to go with the stuff that you have the most information on. Who knows? Maybe they're still digging into this stuff, and it's going to start coming out now, which is why John, was able to break the story. We got to see what comes out of this. I mean, if they go in there and try to level this charge, and it's batted away with something that they didn't see coming, then they look foolish.
Trump's got to run with this one, man.
Right.
Right.
So, you got to be careful because this is definitely a game changer. This could be this could indict a sitting president, right? Something
well, I don't
like
think
this?
you can indict a sitting president. I think we've been through that, but that's what makes the immunity. This is what makes the immunity case with President Trump coming up at the Supreme Court so interesting, and how they're going to rule. And I actually have a clip we'll get to, but let's finish sports since we cut Slick off to get to John. Let's get back to sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. Then we'll do some news, and I'll play this clip from Julie Kelly, which people sent me all kinds of messages saying, Damon, you need to relax. Listen to Julie Kelly. Listen to Julie Kelly. Okay, well, let's listen to Julie Kelly today. But go ahead, Slick.
Just finishing up the scoreboard, Big D. We talked about Arizona beating USC, and then Utah State over Fresno State, 87-65. Houston topples TCU. That'd be number one Houston, 60-45. South Carolina, 80-66 over Arkansas. And Washington State, Stanford coming up at 9 p.m. Colorado State, Nevada, Villanova, and Marquette. A couple other good games. Baylor and Cincinnati. That should be a good game. That's a 9:30 tip-off. NHL action. Rangers continue in their winning ways, leading 2-1 with 2:30 to go in the second at the Lightning. The Penguins over the Sharks, 3-2 right now, 5 to go in the second there. Hurricanes blanking the Panthers, 3-0. Blue Jackets 1-0 over the Senators. Islanders losing 3-0 right now to Buffalo, up in Buffalo. 1 minute to go there in the second. Bruins and Canadians locked up in a good one, end of 2, tied at 1. And, this is a big story earlier today. 16 female athletes file landmark Title IX lawsuit against NCAA over trans inclusion. Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart. Who else, right? A group of 16 female college athletes have launched a lawsuit against the NCAA for allowing trans athletes to compete against them and being forced to use a female locker room with a transgender swimmer, Leah Thomas, who still has full male genitalia. According to the Times and Sunday Times, the 16 female litigants are charging that the NCAA committed institutionalized cheating and discrimination by supporting and attempting to include Thomas. The 156-page lawsuit, which was filed in the United States District Court in Northern District of Atlanta, Georgia, on Thursday, alleges that up to 300 college women were forced to use the same locker rooms and showering facilities that Thomas used during his time on the women's swim team at the University of Pennsylvania. Thomas infamously won the NCAA Division I swimming championships in 2022. He won the title in the women's 500-yard freestyle event, beating 2 females, both Olympic silver medal winners. The suit, spearheaded by former general counsel at the United States Anti-Doping Agency, Bill Bach, includes more than just swimmers, also signing on our college volleyball players, tennis and track and field athletes who feel that the NCAA must be held accountable for supporting trans athletes competing as women. The suit further claims that the NCAA made a radical departure from Title IX's original meaning to protect women's sports. Since the Thomas controversy, the NCAA has updated its trans athlete policy to require trans athletes to submit documentation from a medical provider proving claims of transgenderism at least twice annually and within 4 weeks before the selection date for a championship event. The NCAA also says it will follow Olympic swimming rules that now prohibit any trans athlete who underwent puberty before his transition. This rule would bar Leah Thomas from competing as a woman. Goes into detail some other specifics, Big D, but good to see, Rick, they're starting to come out.
Yeah.
Step up, step out, boycott, exactly what we talked about, years ago, if not months ago, right? So really crazy stuff. And, some really important news here. Yarmir Yager bobbleheads stolen en route to Pittsburgh Pittsburgh giveaway postponed. AP report. They're looking into this, Big D. Jaromir Jagr is missing.
God.
Well, the bobbleheads of the former NHL star. He's losing his head. Hey, Pittsburgh, big news. Pittsburgh Penguins announced Thursday that a shipment carrying bobbleheads of the franchise icon was stolen after arriving in California. And where else? The team had intended to give the bobbleheads away to fans during Thursday night's home game against the San Jose Sharks. Instead, the club will give fans a voucher that will allow them to pick them up at a later date. Penguins President of Business Operations Kevin Acklin said in a statement the club has contacted state and federal authorities to look into the incident. So, losing their head a little bit there. The great Jaromir Jagr, one of the best to do it, of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Well, there you go, Big D. I'll give you back on my time here after that story. Sorry, it's in the news, baby.
All right, Slick. You say it's big news.
I got Steve Garvey coming up. Federal indictment on KC firearms charges with the shooting after the Super Bowl parade there. So we're going to get into that a little bit later.
All right, very good. I want to welcome everybody who's watching on Facebook or YouTube or kick.com, the live from Studio 6B stream, of course, on Getter as well. As always, welcome on in. Randy on Facebook said, Damon, put a couple low hat racks for your 2 cowboy hats on the set behind you. All that nice rustic wood would look good with a little country. And I think that's a pretty good idea, Slick. What do you think of that?
Where are those hats?
Yeah, where are they?
Well, they're hanging on
now.
exactly what he's describing. They're hanging in my studio at home.
Yeah, they belong
Some
here.
nice.
Come on.
I got some room behind us. We could put them out here on the wall.
Exactly. When you're not here, we can put nachos and chips in them.
Yeah.
Nachos Delgado. All right, news coming up with Delgado and David Zier. I want to thank John Solomon again for not only his great reporting, but is so generous with his time.
He's got to get us his bracket, too.
He's got to get us his bracket before he goes to his movie. Jeez. I said, John, no, please.
Bracket or racket?
Live here during the commercial break. All our friends on Kick, on YouTube, on Facebook.
Hello.
Hello, friends.
Hi, friends.
Hello, sir.
Solomon's just the best.
Solomon
Shout
called
out.
you, sir. Hi, sir.
Are we on Getter during this break too? No.
Nope.
Then forget it.
Come on.
I want to give a shout out to Trump Country on there, but Daryl King watching us on Facebook right now. A lot of great people. And Daryl King says you should add a gun rack, too, behind you.
Yeah.
I think I'm once again the only viewer on Kick.
Jeff is on YouTube. Tracy's here. Yvonne, Amy, Luann, Randy.
Don Element.
Moon Pie is on YouTube. I'm in Trump Country. Michael, Laura, welcome on in, everybody. Kathy says the best guys ever. Thank you.
She's not talking about us.
She's not talking about you, Delgado.
Oh, I said us. Okay, so now not talking about you either.
Probably not. You're right.
We did adjust the bit rate. Not sure if it's going to work midstream, but we gave it a shot.
It said excellent for a second. Now it says fair again. I don't know. But it says the bit rate is 17,212. So.
All right, so we lowered it to 5. I guess it didn't kick in.
I thought it kicked in, but I guess not. Let me refresh.
Jan from thunderstormy central Indiana is checking in.
Yeah.
Louis from Maine is checking in.
Bad
Shows
storms there.
16,000.
Lynette
Yeah, we
from
might have to start
Iowa.
and stop it.
Iowa. We love Iowa, don't
So
we?
why don't I see
We
the
love Iowa. The great state. We love it.
Damon, how come I don't see the chat on YouTube? So this is the show, right?
Kathy from Tucson checking
You have
in.
to open up the chat. It's usually to the right.
It's the YouTube. The YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah,
see
the YouTube. You got to put it on the YouTube.
Go to the YouTube.
Oh,
Go to the
maybe I have
YouTube when
to
you put the
join
button
first.
on. Lisa checking in from Land O'Lakes,
You may
Florida.
have to join, yeah.
Land O'Lakes.
Land O'Lakes.
They make good butter.
They make great butter.
Yeah, they do. Not as good as the Breakstone, though.
Debbie from Texas checking in.
I see the bar there.
Potty says
This
hi
one?
to you all.
Hi, he says hi.
It
Hi,
came
you're
up.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see. Hi from Pennsylvania. That's coming from Rod. Charlene says Damon for Congress.
I'd rather be.
Nah, he's got to travel too much.
I want to be press secretary.
Depressed secretary?
I want to be the depressed secretary for the next Trump administration.
Susie from Tennessee checking in. Hey, we have a local checking in. Laura Jean checking in from Long Island. Look at that.
Whoa.
What's the over-under on
Gotta go.
days for me as press secretary? All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Thursday night. The great John Solomon was just with us, breaking down his story from today, and it was quite a doozy. We did some sports with Slicks. Let's do some news. We'll start with the news brought to you by 7 Cells, our friends over at 7cells.com. Use our code LFS6B at checkout for 20% off. Rick Delgado, I'll start with you. What's going on?
Well, a big day today, Damon, was as a friend of the show, Chuck Norris, is celebrating his 84th birthday.
Wow.
When did Chuck become a friend of the show?
I don't know, but actually his birthday was March 10th. I figure if I keep saying this enough, maybe somebody will show it to somebody famous and they'll want to come on our show.
Okay.
Oh, strategy.
Yeah, strategy.
Oh, gotcha.
Doesn't
Always
he represent
strategy.
a company, Total Gym? This sounds like Total Bull.
Well, he was celebrating his 84th birthday. I see it here. Citizens Free Press put it up on X. There he is hitting the punching bag in front, I guess, outside of his home. The punching bag was later transported to the emergency room. Long live the great American Chuck Norris.
Speaking of Total Gym, Christy Brinkley has cancer. Remember she did the commercials with
really?
him?
Hey, thanks for that. Thanks for bringing the show down, David.
That's right. She did do the You're right.
When did we find that out?
Just yesterday.
Wow.
It was some. I think she saw a spot on her face or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
a
it's- I think
squamous
it's-
basal
Hope it's
cell.
something manageable.
Oh, basal
Okay.
cell. Yes, I had one of those.
Speaking of Chuck
just a couple
Norris,
months ago.
he once had an arm wrestling contest with Superman. I'm not going to say who won, but the loser had to wear underwear outside for the rest of his life. So I'll just throw that out there. And you also should know that when the boogeyman goes to sleep every night, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris. Anyhow. All right, moving along. From one great American to what?
Did Aaron? Were you serving drinks before we
is like-
in the
Man, she's
commercial
like
break?
the Cartoon
Wish I
Network.
was. I could use one after that bit.
What? It wasn't a bit. I was celebrating a great American's birthday.
That doesn't even drink.
So there you have it.
With Bruce Lee, the Octagon, Code of Silence,
naturally
Missing in
bombed.
Action. What a great career.
Yeah, exactly. Now, speaking of somebody who doesn't have a great career and who should end up in jail, Senator Bob Menendez from New Jersey has
I got gold bars. Anybody want to go bar?
could be looking at
Looking
some
for Mr.
problems
Goldbar.
as a federal judge earlier today denied the Democrat senator from New Jersey a claim of legislative immunity from the corruption counts against him. According to Judge Sidney Stein, in her ruling, she said the court rejects Menendez's argument in full, finding that none of the allegations are protected by speech or debate clause. The New Jersey senator had argued that due to the Constitution's speech or debate clause, he couldn't be prosecuted. I don't know how this works into hiding cash, Mercedes-Benz in your driveway, or stuffing gold bars around your house, but he's trying to use anything he can to stay out of trouble. The New Jersey senator had argued that due to the Constitution's speech and debate clause, that he was beyond a reproach in terms of being charged. While we were reviewing today's ruling, they said, of our legal options, the court's decision makes clear that the jury will have the final say on the government's allegations, one of Menendez's lawyers has said. He also was recently hit with 12 additional charges in a superseding indictment as part of an ongoing case alleging he acted as a foreign agent, there it is, a FARA violation, on behalf of Egypt. So good things coming down the road for old, slippery Bob Menendez.
Did you see Fetterman's tweet about Menendez today?
Not only did I see it, I've got it right here.
Oh, look at it.
It's a story. Actually, I don't know if this contains the tweet, but the story talks about Senator John Fetterman, who scorched his Democratic colleagues in the Senate for allowing the sleazeball, Senator Bob Menendez, that's his words, not mine,
Strong words.
to remain in Congress despite multiple indictments stemming from the latter's alleged bribery scandal. Earlier this week, Menendez pleaded not guilty in a Manhattan federal court, blah, blah, blah. blah. Him and his wife are accused of obstructing justice while being investigated for hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, cash, gold, Mercedes, you name it, all from countries benefiting Egypt and Qatar. Fetterman spoke to CNN last week, sharing his displeasure, and he said this: "It's been clear that my colleagues want to keep him around, and now we have this trial in less than 2 months, and that's going to handle it." It says about the institution, I don't know what it says about it, other than that they're just okay with having this sleazeball in the Senate.
Yeah.
So Fetterman's comments on how Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, his leadership has come under scrutiny for allowing Menendez to stay in the Senate and retain certain committee assignments. Meanwhile, this is the same Chuck Schumer that you saw going to bat for Hamas.
Yep. All right, we'll do some more news with Delgado in a second. Let's do some news with David Zier, the host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. right here, Saturday mornings on Real America's Voice. Mr. Zier, what's going on?
So much going on. New York City, rush hour today at about 4:50, downtown Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah.
Somebody shot in the head. I don't know the details, but End Wokeness on X posted, "Where's Daniel Penny?" And he's like, oh, he's in jail, basically, you know. When you need him. The National Guard is down there in the subways with a completely unconstitutional random bag check. Instead of putting the police on there, New York City, so many cops have left the force. They're losing 200 police officers a month. 3,000 New York Police Department members left the force last year. Only 2,000 new ones have been sworn in to replace them. Still multiple attacks. A conductor got slashed. There were like many attacks right after Hochul put the National Guard down in the subways. And we know that transit crime and the Bronx subway was up 85% year over year. And I think it was the Guardian or the Daily Mail's reporting today that subway crime has rocketed, felonies 54% in the last 2 years in New York City, including more murders in the last 5 months than all of 2019. 4 people have been murdered so far on the subway this year. It's more than the 3 killed during the whole year of 2019. It's also on track to beat the 6 killed on the subway throughout 2020. But in addition to the murders, there's a steep 53.7% increase over the last 2 years, including murders, rapes, and assaults. And we know the felony assaults in New York City were up about at a 23-year high or so, about 28,000 New Yorkers assaulted. And, you know, that's what's going on here. People do not feel safe in New York City, and they're bragging about, so overall crime in New York City is down. Murders are down about 12% or something, you know, and there are shootings are down as well, but there's other categories where they're consistently up. And just because it's only a 2% increase in robberies or grand theft auto, it was 17% last year.
Should be clapping.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, this is complete ineptitude. Mayor Adams has a lot of explaining to do with all these police department members. And the police force is many thousands less than, say, during Rudy Giuliani in the city. You do not need the National Guard on the New York City subway. You just need to enforce the laws on the books and put people away in jail.
Yeah, and you know what? Reverse your idiotic no bail policies, because that's the problem. You know, when Rudy was in charge, they tackled the smaller crimes, which of course invariably lead to the bigger crimes.
Yep.
You know, the guy's jumping the turnstile. Maybe he was on his way to rob a bank or mug somebody. That person or that bank never gets mugged or robbed because they picked him up for jumping a turnstile. Something as minor as that. People think, well, that's just a little thing. Why do you have to stop somebody? Yeah. Did you see the guy who was randomly throwing cans of fire at strangers on the subway yesterday? That looked like a lot of fun.
You know, they also, you know, thought that if you had a weapon, well, jumping a turnstile, chances are you had a weapon or a warrant out for your arrest. They even solved serial murder crimes because of that. Totally different story. Any community policing in the bad areas. And I got more for you about illegal alien crime in the United States later on. So,
all right, hour 2 coming up. News and sports. More with David Zier. Live from Studio 6B on a Wednesday night. We're back right after this. Alice on Facebook says, "Are the guardian angels still around New York?"
Oh, yeah. Remember them? Yeah. Wasn't that, what's his name? He went off the deep end, though, didn't he?
What was that about the guardian angel?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, the radio guy.
Yeah.
Curtis.
Yeah,
Sliwa.
Curtis. How is he doing? Is he still around?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He has a radio show,
Better
right?
than ever.
ABC?
He's on the subways every day.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's on radio, too.
Yeah, nobody.
He's on the radio.
He's been like the hardest working talk radio guy in the last 40 years.
My friend.
I
mean,
he's on
Bill de
all the time.
Blasio.
Yeah, the mobsters choking on their lobsters.
Texas, Pinkster, what's going on?
Somebody was checking in from, let's see, we got Jonathan
Tuscaloosa?
checking in from the Golden State of California.
Oh.
And Ann Turner, good evening from Australia.
Oh,
B. Hughes,
hey, mate.
welcome back
Look
to
at that.
YouTube, Damon. Thank you.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty
Australia.
Australia. Probably watches Sky News every night.
I love them.
Yeah, they're great.
Who's that?
Sky News. We haven't run.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Tommy Viper.
Tommy Viper.
Tommy Viper.
The
on
Vinto
YouTube.
Viper.
Let's go, mates.
Let's see. Sammy checking in from Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Love the show. Seeing Slick Rick shoes.
Oklahoma. Slick Rick, the shoes. Yeah, we got some good ones on tonight.
Spend time in Broken Arrow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah? I didn't get the point, David.
Use a broken bow. Oh, you're an idiot.
Hey, I'm in town all week trying to veal.
Cynthia checking in from Texas. Larry checking in from Tennessee. Also on the big screen in Alaska, Kevin checking in. Wow.
Kevin from Alaska?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Liz from
Anchorage, baby.
South
Come on.
Carolina, what she calls Trump country. Trump country.
This is God's
Trump Country USA.
Trump country.
Oh, we love that country. What a great country.
Of course, Iowa. We love Iowa.
Wow, that's a great state, Rick. Come on. We
Saw
love
the
it.
world's biggest ball of twine.
I saw the biggest
Yeah, okay.
frying pan.
Laura Jean says, "I love me David Zier."
There you go, right there.
How do you know he talks like
Give him
that?
some
That's a
love.
little,
You got them women waiting for him on the road. I know.
Oh, Kyle checking in from Idaho.
Yeah, waiting for David.
We love
Come on.
Idaho. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
All right, live from Studio 6B, Hour 2 on a Thursday night. Real America's Voice. Glad you're in. Slick's got some sports coming up. David Zier's got some news. Rick Delgado's got the news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Want to say hello to everybody watching us on all our social media, whether you're on Getter, watching us on Real AM Voice, or Rumble, watching us on Real America's Voice, or watching us over on YouTube and Facebook on the Live from Studio 6B socials, and you're chomping it up with us in the commercial breaks where we get a little off the rails. Welcome on in on Thursday night. John Solomon joined us in the first hour. What a great piece of reporting from him today on the sleazy Biden family. The corruption just goes deeper and deeper and more, and the arrogance of it all is quite stunning. And they're thinking they can get away with it, and when it doesn't happen, they just go, oh, well, next. Move on. And Republicans find the stuff out, and they sit on it for 8 months, don't do anything with it. They have Hunter Biden in front of them, don't ask them about it. And it takes John Solomon to drop this piece to get everybody to wake up today. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here in Comer. And I mean, Comer's fine, but I don't know. I mean, if you're like, oh yeah, Republicans got we got Jim Jordan, and we got Comer, and we got all these. We're gonna get to the bottom. We're gonna start seeing things happen. Well, you're sitting there fairly disappointed, I would think, as of right now. But we'll see where this one goes. We'll see what happens from here. Of course, Republicans keep retiring. All these things are going to be short-lived. So there's a lot of other news to get to. Inflation data out. Wholesale inflation was terrible this morning. Not surprising because we all go to the grocery store and we see the prices. So we know that the prices that they're paying, obviously. If we know the prices that we're paying them, what are they paying? Well, the wholesale inflation was way up, more than expected in February. Largest sign that price pressures within the economy remain elevated and very difficult to tame. And they're starting to talk now about whether this June meeting of the Fed, whether the rate cut comes off the table. And they still have 2 months of data, so I don't think you can jump to that conclusion yet. But it's certainly a bigger percentage that there'll be no rate cut in June than there was a week ago, before CPI came out hot and before wholesale this morning came out hot. Wholesale inflation at the wholesale level before it reaches the consumers surged 0.6% in February from the previous month on an annualized basis. Prices remain up 1.6%, the highest level since September of 2023. And as I said, you're hearing all of these brain surgeons and wannabes like Janet Yellen and all these. I've said this forever. These Fed presidents all around the world, these Fed chairmen all around the country, the Atlanta Fed, this Fed, that Fed, they've all been so wrong. It's like, I want a job where I could be as wrong. Well, maybe I have one. I could be as wrong as them and keep the job all the time.
Damon, I bought lunch for a couple of contractors today.
Yep.
A white slice. It's just ricotta and mozzarella, right? A
You're
white
making
slice.
me hungry already.
$6.75 a slice. So
Wow, $6.75?
$6.75 a slice. It's just extraordinary.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, a
and-
whole pie I think is crazy at like $24, but $6 a slice.
Some are up to $30, $40 a pie now. It's crazy.
Wow. There goes Pizza Fridays.
Yeah, forget that. Slick's going to
Get it.
start paying.
Yeah, I paid last week. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, good
Tough
job. Good job. I still owe you for that. Okay,
It's going to turn into,
Nah, you don't owe me
it's
nothing.
going to turn into Pizza Bagel Friday.
There you go. Exactly.
Elio's.
Elio's
That's
frozen
exactly right.
slices. There you go.
So inflation, not good, and I saw the debt climb to 0.4 trillion this morning. We talked about that in that article yesterday. A lot of you asked me about the greenbacks. It is on our social media. I think people just miss it. They say, you talk about these and you don't post them. No, I do post them. They're there. I post a lot, though, so you may have to scroll down a little bit. But it is on Getter, and it is on Twitter. The Greenback Mile from yesterday. So one of the other things, and I saw this and I thought this was interesting because we've talked about this a lot, is what the polls say about a third-party run. And we were talking about RFK, right? And he's going to announce his
Yep, March the
VP.
26th in Berkeley, California, also known as Oakland.
Yeah. So we've been talking about that, and we've had a couple different, thoughts on who it would hurt, who it would help. James Swarford has a piece today, what the polls say about third parties. And he breaks it down, and he says, obviously, Trump and Biden have now become the presumptive nominees of their respective parties. And there's also increasing talk about what the polls say about the state of the race, also with Robert F. Kennedy in there. What happens with a third-party candidate? He says, well, we can now answer these questions for a point in time from a series of polls for 7 states that was released by Bloomberg Morning Consult on February 29th of 2024. The 7 states polled were Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Bloomberg Morning Consult released both Trump versus Biden and 5-way Trump v. Biden v. Kennedy v. Stein and v. West. Cornel West, the independent, Stein, the Green Party candidate, Biden, the Democrat, Kennedy, the independent, and Trump, the Republican. They did that for all 7 states conducted over the same period of time. Real Clear Politics reported this unique set of 2-way and 5-way polls for battleground states. Since 7 polls of both 2-way and 5-way races would be 14 polls and a lot of numbers, a summary of the polls might just be more useful, he says. President Trump leads in all 7 states, whether it is a 2-way race or a 5-way race. Mr. Trump's lead grows when the race is expanded to 5 candidates in every state except Michigan, where it shrinks from 2 points to 1 point. On average, Mr. Trump gained slightly less than 1.3 percentage points in the 5-way polls, of all the battleground states compared to the two-way races in the same states. So it appears that in at least late February, President Trump was leading in the swing states and on average slightly gained in these swing states when a third-party candidate or 5 candidates were included in the polling. This is consistent with what the RealClearPolitics.com average says about the race when third-party candidates are included in the polls for each state, but two-way and 5-way polls for each state are not matched up. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Definitely. And
Wow.
It's funny, too, because I have this story right here from NBC News that Democrats prepare to go to war against third-party candidates. They don't like them for that very reason, because, as you pointed out, not only is Trump already in the lead, head-to-head, but when you extrapolate that out to 5 candidates or even 3, his lead increases. And they don't like what they're seeing. They're complaining. There's some Jill Stein hangover, says Pat Dennis, the president of the American Bridge, a Democratic opposition research group that said, referring to the Green Party nominee, who is seen as a spoiler in places like Michigan. And a lot of people, including me, says regret that we didn't get to go after her sooner and further. They also blame Green Party candidates such as Stein and Ralph Nader to contributing to their losses in 2016 and 2000. And they're nervous. They're very nervous.
Yeah, and this centrist No Labels party is going to nominate Jeff Duncan, the Lieutenant Republican governor of Georgia.
Oh, he's who the hell is he?
Yeah. But they're not,
No, you're kidding.
Right. Oh,
They're
my
not
goodness,
centrist.
not him.
Yeah.
I saw some left-wing nutjob polls tell me that Thomas Massey was going to be in problems in Kentucky until this morning when the when the interactive polls came out, and Massey's plus 58 right now. So
Well, he was plus 60. That's the thing.
I don't think he's got much to worry about there. So, all right. So let me get to this clip. Do I have time for the Julie Kelly thing here? How long is that? Okay. So when I talked about Julie Kelly and I talked about President Trump and the Washington, D.C. Judge Chutkan being the tip of the spear, everybody told me, no, relax, Damon. He's not going to go to trial before the election. Julie Kelly says so. Here's Julie Kelly today on Buck and Clay and Buck on the radio. Roll that.
Attorney General Merrick Garland stated very clearly in an interview a few months ago that he considers both of these matters, the classified documents case here in southern Florida, the January 6, 2020 election interference case now on hold in Washington, he considers both of those matters out of the hands of the Department of Justice. They are now in the federal court system. The judges are responsible for setting the trial dates and handling all the pretrial motions and jury selection. The DOJ, as soon as it got to the judges, as soon as they started to set trial dates and pretrial schedules, it now is in the hands of the courts. So that's why I keep saying, and you guys, we've talked about this for years now, no one should be surprised if the Supreme Court comes back and upholds lower court rulings that Donald Trump is not immune from prosecution, that he will stand trial in Washington in early September, late September. We know now that the DOJ will not stop it. They've already green-lighted it. And we know that Judge Tanya Chutkan, if this is put before her late September, early October, she has clearly said that the election calendar and politics plays no role in her courtroom. She's going to pretend none of this is even happening. So it was not just a stark comment made by, of course, the special counsel, but Merrick Garland himself, which I think is why they timed the indictments when they did. So they brought the classified documents case June, a superseding indictment in July of 2023, and a few weeks later, August 1st, the January 6th indictment. So they stacked these up with the timing where it would go in the hands of the judges. They knew there would be all this pretrial activity headed up to the Supreme Court on a few questions, and that the DOJ could then come back and say, oops, sorry, it's out of our hands. When these go to trial, doesn't matter if people are voting across the country and Donald Trump is on trial in Washington or southern Florida. Nothing we can do about it, folks.
Yeah. It's exactly what I said a month ago, that this was going to be, and now we know the Supreme Court is hearing oral arguments, I believe, April 20th. And you have to figure the decision will come before they go on recess, which means probably in the month of June, before July 1st. And it just as she says. So if you don't think Judge Chutkan is the tip of the spear here, and this is the whole ball of wax, You see what's going on in Georgia. The Fannie Willis decision we've already dropped some counts. We're probably going to drop her tomorrow. The judge says his decision on her will be out tomorrow. You look in New York, you see Alvin Bragg all of a sudden requesting a 30-day stay today. There's something obviously going on there besides the whole thing being bogus and falling apart. Washington, D.C. is the whole ball game. This is what they're focused on. This is their plan. They are praying that they get a John Roberts liberal court to say no immunity, and he is going to be on trial before this election. And Julie Kelly right there as much says so. That is their play. I don't see how anybody can have any doubt about it. That is their play, and that is the timing that they are praying that the Supreme Court grants them by holding up the lower court. And then you are going to see full blast ahead to make that happen. All right, news and sports coming up. Live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night.
Pick
What
up
are
your
you doing,
garbage.
You have a read here.
That Julie Kelly clip should be concerning to everybody. Because that's the game plan.
But that's always been.
Well, most people thought that there was no chance he could be on trial before the election.
Oh, also, besides the read, are you going to announce the new product that started on the website today?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Ha-ha. I caught that
Live
today.
from Studio 6B, ShamWow.
Did you see that?
I did when I was doing merch today. I saw it.
Looks pretty good, huh?
It does.
Come up with a
I
scrub
want
daddy?
one
You
of
got a scrub
each.
daddy?
Do you? I'll get you whatever you want.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen it?
No.
No,
Well, you gotta
we
go
don't
look.
pay attention to
Why
anything.
would it be on the website?
Throw it up on.
We get a commission.
Throw it up on the screen.
Oh,
Crazy Town Coffee.
Oh, my
coffee.
There it is.
we should try the What Even Is That coffee.
We put that out?
Yes.
We released it today.
Is it whole bean or ground?
It's either one.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it good? Did you try it?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you kidding me?
Is it good?
Best ever.
How much is it? I want one.
Came from Kauai.
You know
I'll
what?
get you
Damon
one.
picked the beans himself. He's got a little burrow
Yeah.
in his yard. And he goes through and he
We got
pulls the
light
beans.
roast, we got medium roast, we got dark roast.
Oh, nice.
Do you have crazy roast?
You got
We
Colombian?
got
They're all
grains.
crazy.
You got the Colombian?
We got
can mix them
grains.
together.
We got. We don't have K cups yet. That's what I'm working on
Oh,
next.
wow.
But
gonna
it's
get
whole
the
bean
whole
or
bean.
ground. You can choose.
Whole bean or ground. Yep.
I did my research.
You can choose.
I see that.
Which one's the best? Medium roast, dark?
Depends how you like your coffee. I don't know.
David Z
I
is
think the
ordering
notes
3
on the
cases.
medium roast are the most intriguing.
He's going to drink it
The
before
notes on the medium roast.
You know what you need? You need a rodeo
Let's
roast.
go.
Oh,
Chalk.
God.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh,
This
rodeo
one was
roast.
good. This
Do a
one was
rodeo
good.
roast.
What even
We're
is
back,
that?
we're back at 15.
Surprise.
You have a read. You have a read.
Oh yeah. What do I have to read?
Done with that.
Crazy Town Coffee. I love how we
Crazy
know
Town
about
Coffee.
I love how we know about all these.
All right, live from Studio W6B 17 past the hour. And that sounds like the Blues playing, which can only mean one thing. I want to talk to you about your debt. I know you go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it because that's what you do. When you've got credit card debt or other debt, it just consumes you. Here's the truth. The system traps you in debt. High-interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt. And insane inflation keeps you stuck paycheck to paycheck. Well, Done with Debt is your lifeline. Done with Debt has an ingenious new strategy to help erase your debt faster and easier than you thought possible. Done with Debt analyzes all the debt options that you qualify for. They know how to reduce your bills. They know how to cut your interest rates. Their skilled staff and negotiators know how to get debt out of your life permanently. And here's the most important part. They know how to do it without filing bankruptcy and without taking new loans. Done with Debt are the experts in brilliant strategies for eliminating debt, but you need to hurry because some debt solutions could be time sensitive. So here's how easy they've made it. Here's all you got to do. Just go to donewithdebt.com. Right there, right now, go there. Check it out. Donewithdebt.com. Donewithdebt.com. Go there now. Check it out. See if they can get the debt out of your life. All right, 18 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell and My Pillow. Use our code LFS6B if you shop at My Pillow, and we'll send you out the shirt of the month absolutely free. Plus, you'll get great stuff from Lindell, and our code saves you like 60% off. I mean, the pricing is just ridiculous. Slick, what's going on in sports?
Speaking of sound like the Blues, big upset. NC State beat number 11 Duke. Just went finals, 74-69 in the ACC tournament quarterfinals. So, well, it's eating up the action. We got right now the great state of Iowa. Iowa State leading Kansas State 74-56. That game's just about over 50 seconds to go there. And at the half, Duquesne over Dayton, 30-28. Washington State, Stanford just underway, tipped off there. And same with Colorado State and Nevada. Nothing to report there. As I said earlier, UConn over Xavier, 87-60. UConn looking real strong, as is Houston with a big win tonight. All right, let's get to a couple of stories. Not good news in Jerry world. Dak Prescott accused of sexual assault by a woman after Cowboys QB sued her on extortion claim. See, he jumped on this. You know, he sued her first because she was apparently extorting him for $100 million. Now, here we go. Fox Sports reporting here. A woman accusing Dak Prescott of sexual assault has filed a police report over the alleged incident in 2017 after the star quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys sued her on a $100 million extortion claim. As I just said, Dallas police said Thursday there was an ongoing investigation after a report was filed earlier this week, about time, right? About an alleged sexual assault that occurred in the parking lot of a strip club maybe Jerry was there, in 2017. Prescott attorneys filed the extortion. This is a mess in Collin County, north of Dallas, Big D, on Monday. Prescott has denied, well, of course he's denied the allegation. According to the lawsuit, the woman and her attorneys wrote Prescott a letter in which they said the woman wouldn't pursue criminal charges or go public with her claims if Prescott paid her $100 million. That's a reasonable offer. Well, that's almost as bad as the salary cap pay he gives him every year. An attorney representing Prescott met last week with police in Prosper, where Prescott lives, and said his client was a possible victim of extortion, the Dallas Morning News reported. Prescott is seeking $1 million in damages in a lawsuit against the woman and her attorneys. Prescott's attorney, Levi McAthern, said the quarterback has never had non-consensual sex with anyone. Well, Jerry said that they're aware of the ongoing investigations and they can't comment on it. They said they've spoken with Dak. So we'll keep an eye on that. You know, just another distraction for that. I can't even say it because I get all tongue-tied on that. For the Dallas Cowboys, Big D, not a good look at all. So, we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on that one. And 3 men face federal firearm charges in connection to Kansas City Chiefs parade shootout. This is Orr Hawkins of Breitbart. 3 men have been charged in connection with the shooting that occurred at the end of the Kansas City Chiefs celebratory Super Bowl parade on February 14th of this year. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Missouri identified the 3 men as 22-year-old Fido Antonia Manning, a 21-year-old Ronald Dwayne Williams Jr., and 19-year-old Shylin Hendrick Groves. Everybody's got middle names there. The charges include firearm trafficking and straw purchasing. The attorney's office does not suggest Manning, Williams, or Groves were involved in the actual shooting, only in the acquisition of some of the guns that were allegedly used in the shootout. PBS noted that federal charges against the three men were filed Monday and unsealed Wednesday. On February 16th, Breitbart News pointed out that the two juveniles were charged in connection with the Chiefs shootout, and 4 days later, on February 20th, two adults were charged. The AP reported that two adults, Dominic Miller and Lindell Mays, were allegedly among several others who pulled guns following a dispute. PBS indicated that 12 people brandished firearms and at least 6 people fired weapons at the rally, according to court documents. So, an interesting story there as well. What a shame that whole parade and that poor young lady, that DJ, lost her life, right? Forget her name, that lady. Yeah. Terrible. So, and that's a wrap in sports, Big D. I'll give it back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. Let's do some news. News is brought to you by 7cells, 7cells.com. And here with the news is Rick Delgado.
All right. Well, things continue to unfold in Haiti as things just get worse and worse. And that was compounded by the fact that American missionaries, whom Joe Biden abandoned in Haiti, are now pleading for rescue. Yes, the American missionaries trapped in Haiti are pleading for the government to come and help them. The group's leader said the only assistance they've received from the Biden administration was advice. They said, we hope you stay safe. Okay, well, that's not really helpful, said Jill Dolan, the group of the group Love a Neighbor, said in response to what she received from the U.S. Embassy when asked for help about getting her and her family out of Haiti. She said, my fear is that we will be caught in the middle of something really dangerous. We already know on the front lines we're in a bad area. It's kind of depressing. The gunfire never stops, she told the New York Post earlier this week. And as the Haitian incident continues to descend into chaos. But don't worry, because, well, the government was on top of things. And I'll show you how. Earlier today, the Senate, picture number 1 here, check it out for yourself. The Senate confirmed career Foreign Service member Dennis Hankins to be the new U.S. ambassador to Haiti. Yeah, where the widespread violence has brought social order to the brink of collapse. People are running for their lives. You got a guy, I guess maybe he's gonna be linking up with his buddy over there, Barbecue or whatever his name is, and hash out some friendly handshakes as he takes his new position as the U.S. ambassador to Haiti. Now, it tells you how popular this guy was. The final bipartisan roll call vote for this guy, for this job. I guess they really don't like him. 89-1. They want him to be in Haiti as soon as possible. And as you can tell from this old picture, the old ambassador was replaced here because, well, he was accused of always, Slick, looking the other way. Ooh. So, you get that going for you. No, I'm kidding. That's not really the old ambassador. He's just it's just a funny looking picture. I thought it'd be perfect to throw in there. Looks like everybody's paying attention. Great. Yeah. Multiple Taco Bells. Looking like Haiti now, as they are closing in Oakland. Yeah, they're closing their dining room as the crime continues to spiral out of control in the California city, which has been struggling with rising crime and affecting businesses both big and small. Taco Bell said in a statement that providing a safe environment for team members and customers is a priority, so we're shutting everything down. The franchise owners and operators has informed us that they are constantly evaluating and working to ensure a safe environment by implementing procedures such as closing dining rooms and hiring security guards, which always makes it feel really special at Taco Bell. Diversified Restaurant Group owns about 300 locations and Arby locations, predominantly in the western U.S., and they did not return CNN's request for comment.
They probably made a run for the border. Exactly. Nachos Delgado right on the top of that one there.
Exactly. That, and on top of that, the mayor, they're looking to recall the mayor of Oakland. Now a move is being made by a former judge in Oakland who is setting up and looking to gather enough signatures to have the mayor of Oakland, I forget her name, recalled, because of course she is not doing the job, and they blame her for the spiraling violence and the city's constant chaos.
All right, live from Studio 6B. More news with Delgado, news with David Zier, all coming up right after this.
inflation update for the day. I will. I'll call you back.
Rick, it was funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron, I'm going to try to rip something and throw it so we can bump in with from Ben. If I can do it quick enough here.
Yeah, she's the worst, that Oakland mayor. Ugh.
Come on. What the
Sheng Thao.
Go back to the other page where you had your options. You have to right-click on it and save it. Don't just click on it. It just opens it in your browser.
Keeps getting stuck. God damn it. Fuck's sake. You're saying right click here?
Yeah, right-click on the button you want and choose and save it. There should be a save file as or save link as.
Save link as. It's not working either. Nope.
What browser are you using?
I'm using Brave.
That
All
could
right,
be
I'll
why.
just I don't
It
know.
works in Chrome and Firefox.
It's like a test. What do I do here? What do I do here? Here you go, folks. This is the behind the scenes that you want to see.
Back in 20.
Who's that? in
No,
the
I
left?
can't even
Oh.
get to it. What is going on?
Tearing down the fourth ball.
10.
9.
All right, live from Studio 6B. Must have lost my ears because I can't hear anything.
Huh?
Oh, God, my computer doesn't work. My ears don't work. Nothing works.
Wow.
Live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night, 30 minutes past the hour. Let's do some news with the host of Breaking Point, 8 a.m. Saturday mornings right here on Real America's Voice. Now would be one Mr. David Zier. Mr. Zier, how are you?
I'm great. A lot going on. Rav will be covering Ohio. They got the primary coming up. Bernie Moreno, who's Trump endorsed, along with J.D. Vance, Kristi Noem, Carrie Lake. They'll be in Ohio and Dayton this weekend. So that's a close one to follow. And they're going to go against Sherrod Brown. He's got the lead right now. It's a liberal district, but he's a popular Democrat senator from Ohio. But the race is within 5, I think. So we really got to pay attention to that. It's a critical race for the U.S. Senate. I wanted to just go over a couple of quick things here. I want to give a shout out to Trump Country USA in our Getter chat tonight. Newsmax is reporting that General Milley is going to be knighted by King Charles. 2 buffoons. Who can forget Mark Milley, I think in 2022, going before either the House or the Senate saying that he's read Mao Zedong and Lenin and everybody and Marxist. So why shouldn't our students or our military learn about critical race theory, which is all fake? It's not even historically accurate. And you talked about before the Alvin Bragg case is delayed. I was listening to Greg Jarrett today, who's been spot on. He warned us of this a long time ago, that against Attorney General Barr. He warned us that Barr was going to turn on Trump, right on the money. But Alvin Bragg, there might be exculpatory evidence lines for Trump on this. And, the feds turned down this case. Cyrus Vance Jr., the son of Cyrus Vance, who was Secretary of State under Jimmy Carter, was the DA in Manhattan, turned down this case, didn't want to prosecute it. The feds turned down the Alvin Bragg case also. And normally, anyway, there weren't even crimes committed. But
there's something going on, by the way, with this whole. He's requesting a 30-day request now. All of a sudden, he needs 30 extra days because he got all these trove of documents from the DOJ.
30,000 pages. Took a year for them to get it.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something's just. No.
But anyway, it's something to follow closely. Could be, again, evidence that helps Trump here. And I just wanted to talk about the illegal aliens committing crime. I'll be on American Sunrise tomorrow at 8:45 a.m. Eastern about Joy Reid talking about with Raphael Warnock from Georgia that illegal immigrant crimes are negligible, but they weren't negligible to the angel moms and dads that I interviewed down on the border years ago, like Marianne Mendoza, Sabine Durden, whose son was killed by a drunk driver, Steve Ronnebeck, whose son was murdered in a gas station robbery unnecessarily. They could have just taken the money, but they shot his son in the head. So many cases recently. There's a media blackout. A 12-year-old boy was killed by an illegal alien in Missouri. These are all cases just within the last couple of weeks. Virginia Beach, illegal alien drunk driver, proves that Virginia Beach is still a sanctuary city, even though they say they're not. This guy's not going to be deported. Illegal alien in the country for 5 months, raped a 14-year-old girl in Louisiana. A pregnant woman was raped in Florida. All these extraordinary cases. So tell that to the families of people who lost their loved ones like Lake and Riley, it's negligible. So that'll be on tomorrow. And that's all I have right now for you, Damon.
All right, David Zier, you mentioned Bernie Moreno, huh? AP has a lead story out tonight. And I don't know what to make of it. Trump-backed Senate candidate faces GOP worries that he could be linked to adult website profile. Republicans eager to regain the Senate. Ohio offers a prime opportunity to pick up a critical seat, but ahead of Tuesday's primary election, there's mounting anxiety inside the GOP that Bernie Moreno may emerge with the nomination after vaulting into the top tier of contenders with the coveted endorsement from Donald Trump. Moreno, who has now shifted from a public supporter of LGBTQ rights to a hardline opponent, is confronting questions about the existence of a 2008 profile seeking men for one-on-one sex on a casual sexual encounters website called Adult Friend Finder. Hey, I'm looking for guys to have fun with while traveling, reads a caption on the photo less profile under the username Nardo19672, according to the AP review of the records made public through a well-publicized data breach of the website. Records show the profile was also last accessed about 6 hours after it was created. The AP reviewed confirmed that someone with access to Moreno's email account created the profile, though the AP could not definitively confirm whether it was created by Moreno himself. You heard about this?
I did, but I can't verify it. I know it's controversial. Some Republicans are concerned that Moreno can't beat Sherrod Brown. His second-place guy, Dolan, his father, I think, owns the Cleveland Guardians. What a stupid name. It's the Cleveland Indians, all right? Get over it. Exactly. But named after a famous Penobscot Indian, the Cleveland Indians, who was one of the best players in baseball history. It was an honor to be named there. But Bernie Moreno is running against Dolan, and there's a third-place guy. His name escapes me. I was following it earlier in the year. But the governor, Mike DeWine, is backing Dolan, who, may have more appeal with the independent/Democrats. But Trump is all in for Moreno at this point, and a lot of people are going to be out there.
You wonder if someone may have mentioned this to Trump before. I mean, how long ago did he give the endorsement?
I don't know. I think it was pretty recent, but I interviewed Bernie Moreno at Turning Point USA last July in West Palm Beach. He was emerging at that point. He's been around. He's got big money for the club from the Club for Growth, $830,000 so far. And you know how that can go either way with people, in the MAGA movement, So, listen, it's going to be a tough race. Ohio needs to win that seat for the Republicans, but Sherrod Brown, still has the lead. I don't know where that stuff is going to go with Adult Friend Finder. I can't verify it.
Since we're speaking of Trump endorsements, and everybody knows how I feel about 98% of them, Trump has announced tonight, I guess, that he's going to endorse John Barrasso. Is Chris Hayes watching? I could give another another reaction video here. Trump is going to endorse John Barrasso for Senate GOP whip. I don't know. I don't really know what to continue to say about this stuff. It's just a bunch of Mitch McConnell stooges. Thune, Barrasso, all of them. The only difference between them and McConnell is the age.
I think Barrasso bowed out of trying to replace McConnell, right? But
okay, so great. He's not going to be in the total screw us position. He'll be in the the wingman screw us position.
Yeah, he'll be the Senate.
Barrasso's just as
he'll be the Senate GOP whip.
I just don't get it. I just don't get where he comes up with these. Who feeds him the folder to say, here, look at this guy and see if we want to endorse him. I just love to know who puts those folders together. I can tell you what they don't have in those folders that they give him to look at. They don't have their voting records. And they don't have where they actually stand on the issues that matter at the time they've mattered. Because you couldn't come up with these people if you looked at the actual stuff that matters. You just couldn't. You could not continue to come up with every one of these. So John Barrasso is going to get Trump's endorsement to become the Senate GOP whip. So,
yeah.
All right. Anything else in news from you, David Z, right now?
No, I'm all set.
All right, Rick Delgado. What else is going on in the news you've got?
Well, you know how we were talking about the whistleblower for Boeing? Who committed
you had a theory, I had a theory.
Suicide. I think my theory's kicking the crap out of your theory there, Jamin. Because your theory was what? That he was feeling so bad about being a part of this that he needed to end his life.
He was holding in years of
of guilt
stuff. Yes.
Right. Well, it turns out they're starting to look into this a little bit further in terms of his quote unquote suicide. Turns out back in 2019 Barnett shared his concerns about his former employer with the BBC, alleging issues with the oxygen system on board the 787 Dreamliner, among other things, and shortly after, of course, he became a whistleblower against Boeing. And now this has been in the making for a while, the testimony. Now, he was in the midst, and this is something we didn't report because it wasn't in the story, but he was already in the midst of giving testimony. He was going back for day number 3. So it makes you wonder, how could he be so depressed that he could give 2 days of testimony, but not the third? This article coming from the New York Post, Boeing whistleblower John Barnett didn't seem depressed at dinner on the evening before he was mysteriously found dead in his car with a gunshot wound to his head, according to sources who told the Post. Lawyers, family, friends, and witnesses all say the 62-year-old was upbeat about finishing off the testimony against his former employer in Charleston, South Carolina, and raised suspicions as to whether he'd taken his own life. As an employee who works for the Holiday Inn where Barnett was found dead, told the Post Barnett had a quesadilla, drank a Coke, scrolled on his phone, and seemed to be fine on the evening of February the 8th. I didn't think of him until I heard the news the next day, the employee said. He didn't seem upset at all, according to the Post. His panicked lawyers, of course, raised the alarm, requesting the hotel check on him after he didn't answer the phone when he was due to give his third day of closed-door testimony in the bombshell lawsuit. Police then discovered the body March 9th, slumped over the steering wheel of his orange pickup truck with a silver gun in his hand. Boy, that's not suspicious. Charleston County coroner initially noted death as self-inflicted, but said more tests are being done before a final determination, and it's an ongoing investigation. They said it's a very unusual step that they dusted the entire truck inside and out for fingerprints. So that kind of got everybody's attention. If it's a suicide, why do you need to dust the car for fingerprints? Family friend Bob Emery spoke to Barnett about 2 weeks before he died and said he seemed too focused on what he was doing with the lawsuit and didn't seem depressed at all. So, interesting stuff. Again,
so how was your theory kicking my theory? What are you talking about?
Because my theory is, basically the simplest answer is the most correct. Somebody off this guy and made it look like suicide.
Well, I don't think that story does anything to help yours more
I think
than it does mine.
Immediately. I mean, of course it does.
I think you could ask anyone who's gone through this horror. I mean, I'll bet Twitch's family didn't think he was depressed the day before he killed himself.
Who?
The dancer who used to was from So You Think You Can Dance. He was on Ellen. Twitch. He committed suicide. Nobody saw that. I mean, I don't know how does your story make that?
I remember that.
Yeah, I don't.
How does well, let's see. Everybody who was talking to him the day, leading up to the day of the suicide said he was in good spirits.
I don't think that's not uncommon.
Casolaro was not depressed and warned his family if anything happens to me, it's not a suicide.
And Jeffrey Epstein wasn't depressed either.
Yeah.
That was all to cover up for money laundering.
Were the Clintons around?
They were involved with Inslaw, the Clintons.
Because Boeing, it's not only airplanes, Damon. It's also they're the fourth largest defense contractor.
My theory is still in the lead.
Your theories.
All right, more sports with Slick. A little more news on a Thursday night live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
Hooga. David, I got a story for you.
What you got?
I'm going to say, because if I tell you now, plus if we're, no, it's not a same. Saving
That's
that
a troublemaker.
You need batteries too? Mine dead. I was like, what? Why am I not hearing anything? Oh, my batteries are dead. My computer doesn't work. My batteries went dead. My ears don't work.
UFO hovering over the building.
Must be something. Delgado's ride home must be over us.
Unidentified flying Ortega.
Yeah, I do. I have it here because I can't rip it because my computer's decided tonight's not going to work.
That's okay. Last night we almost didn't have a show because the entire machine room went down. I didn't even let you know about that.
The whole guts went down?
One of the power supplies stopped working.
Was that the beginning of the show?
Yeah, remember when?
No, it was like 5 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, yesterday?
Because the beginning of the show was like a zap.
No, that was a clock issue tonight.
Oh, okay.
Hello from Omaha.
Omaha.
Sandy. Hello.
Mutual of Omaha. How's the giraffes? That was a great show. Remember the Mutual of Omaha? And it probably wasn't in Omaha. It was probably
I just don't understand Barrasso. Why?
Yeah, JoJo reminded us that he had only a 76% score, I guess, in the conservative scorecard.
I'm surprised it's even that high.
JoJo was a man.
I just don't get these. I just don't get. If he endorses Thune for speaker, seriously, it's going to be like I don't know.
I can't believe it. I hope that's not.
It's going to be Crazy Town Coffee.
We need Slick Rick hot pickles.
This segment.
What about that?
Crazy Town Coffee.
You want to offer something? Slick Rick hot pickles.
Hot pickles. Yeah, you ever have those hot pickles?
No, I haven't.
They look pretty good.
Took me a year to do coffee. You think you want me to do pickles?
Pickles.
No, we don't want you to do.
Not just pickles.
Wasn't that your horse, Pickles, when you were a little kid?
Yes.
So you already did pickles.
I got to get a picture of
You're already in the business.
me on pickles.
You brought one in, didn't you? I thought you had one.
No.
You sure?
I don't know if you want to show that pic.
Yeah, I do. I was cute, man. Oh my god.
Did you see before when your everything wasn't working? I put in the chat, Deaf, Dumb, and Damon. They lost it.
That's real funny.
They thought it was funny.
This tweet potato is so nasty.
Nasty, very nasty.
All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday night. Glad you're in. Man, people watching on YouTube and Facebook, I got to be thinking, what are these guys do to the commercial breaks?
Oh, man.
What?
Well, I mean, you want to see behind the scenes, you get to see it raw and everything that goes right, everything that goes wrong.
Yeah, we're not hiding much there.
No, we're not.
Well, I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
You need some hot pickles.
That's the way it goes. 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Thursday. So Ben Bergquam has a new trailer out for his new Law and Border, and man, it looks great. I wanted to play it here. So Aaron, fire it up. Let's play it full screen and give Ben and his new episode a little time here. Check this out.
Chicago, absolute disaster, guys. Democrats do not care about the inner city.
The Democratic Party just abandoned us and they replacing us.
The national security of this country is under attack.
Police are not allowed to pursue anybody. Bad guys are getting away just doing one crime after another.
We should be holding these Democrats accountable.
Our homes are being taken. We're going to flip Chicago red. The Democratic Party is done in Chicago.
Mayor, why are you selling out Chicago for illegal aliens? Why are you blaming right-wing extremists instead of the Democrat Party that caused this? You can't run from the question, sir. The citizens of Chicago know the truth.
Damn.
Man.
Gotta love the Ben Bergquam.
Chi-town.
Yeah. How good is that?
That's pretty good.
And Pastor David Lowery from the special at the warehouse is in that video. Ben was the first to interview him in Chicago about this about a month and a half ago. And it's just, exceptional. And I think Ben will be back out there the day after the Illinois primary with Pastor David Lowery, meeting with, gang members and other people who are just really upset and about to go to war with a lot of illegals because all the stuff going on there. So I didn't confirm that with Ben, but that's what Pastor Lowery told me. But they're fed up in Chicago.
They should be fed up in every blue city. I mean, and again, I understand the whole idea of we're going to go into these places and win. I mean, most likely we're not, but I understand the numbers we might be seeing some, sea changes in the electorate. And speaking of that, getting back to where we started the show with Schumer, I mean, I don't know how if you're a Jew or if you're here, I don't know how you vote for anybody in the Democratic Party. How do you vote if you're Jewish? How do you vote for anyone in the Democratic Party? Can someone just tell me that? I know people say that the Jewish people living in America don't vote for what's exactly happening in Israel at the time. They vote more about, obviously, I just don't see how you can vote.
It's Jewish guilt, and there's a lot of, that's what it is. It's what the liberals, the Reformed Jews in the United States are very liberal.
But guilt about what?
It's just I think it's cultural and especially in New York, a lot of very successful people in New York, and they have $1 million homes throughout the Hamptons, multi-million-dollar homes, and
basically it doesn't touch them, so they can afford to have these types of views because, it really doesn't affect me. It's not in my backyard, right?
But they'll throw big money at it, and for the liberal causes. And that's really at the genesis of the elitist limousine liberal mentality, too.
Exactly.
I'm looking for a comment. I saw a comment today from somebody.
Well, while you look at that, can I bring this up to David? I want to get his take on something.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Right. Oh, here it is. Let me just finish this. So Josh Hammer says the assumption Glenn Greenwald was responding to Josh Hammer, who said basically the same thing I just said. If you're a Jew who takes your Jewishness even remotely seriously, how do you vote for a Democrat? Glenn Greenwald said, the assumption of your tweet, and there have been so many statements like this from similar neocons after 2 decades, is American Jews cast their votes in U.S. elections based on what's best for Israel. The classic anti-Semitic dual loyalty trope that is otherwise prohibited. And Josh came back and said, the assumption of this tweet is that Jews ought to care about the Jewish people, the actual practice of Judaism, the broader Jewish nation, and yes, the Jewish state. In other words, the assumption of this tweet is that most Jews aren't self-hating. Then he added a couple other things that I can't put to Glenn Greenwald, but so it got a little heated. But I think I side more with Josh on this. I just don't see how there's not a sea change in the electorate coming up.
Yeah, especially when you see, what the Jewish people here have had to endure on college campuses, in blue cities, in New York, any place that you show up to support Israel, they get attacked by these pro-Hamas lunatics.
There is a Jexit. There's a Jewish exit from the Democratic Party, and it's going on, especially since all this started again after October 7th. It's not enough, though.
Yeah, obviously. Well, you know what it is? It's the ones with the access and the power and the name recognition. They're the ones that are still up there, pushing Hamas, like the Chuck Schumers of the world. But the regular people, I think, are the ones you're talking about.
I have a lot of Jewish clients in the building business, and they fought in the Israeli military, and they watched the Muslims destroy cities, kill innocent people time and time again, and they get it.
Right.
But I don't think it's the majority in New York.
Are you saying it's not enough to make a difference?
I think it can make a difference,
but
remember, there's only 19 million Jews in the world, and there's 7 billion people, and there's only 4% of the population in America is Jewish. It could make a little bit of a difference. Listen, if 1 point comes from that, and 5 points come from the black vote, and 3 points come more in the Hispanic vote, now you got 9% more for Trump. So,
yeah. All right, what's the news you want to get to?
Oh, this one. See, now this is interesting because David's a builder. So let me get your take on this. New York City is building anti-migrant streets. How do they do this? It's called hostile architecture. Are you familiar with this?
No.
I don't know.
Okay. In recent months, New York City has grappled with, of course, a growing humanitarian crisis, according to this article here. So what they've done, do you know what you know those things that they put on outside windows and on the tops of buildings to make sure the pigeons don't land there, right? Mm-hmm. The spikes.
Okay.
They've started implementing this. They started implementing this stuff on the architecture outside of these buildings around where these migrant places are.
Against break-ins?
No, against people hanging out. So you can't lean on a post. You can't sit someplace because they've got all these things. You know what? I'll show you the article. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah,
right,
definitely.
Let's do some sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Slick, what else is going on?
All right, PGA Tour golfer Ryan Fox makes history after hole-in-one on Island Green at the Players. It was Fox's second straight eagle. This is Ryan Moore of Fox News. Ryan Fox is within striking distance after his first round at the Players Championship, largely because of the shot of a lifetime. This 37-year-old knocked a hole-in-one on the 17th hole of TPC Sawgrass, the home of the famous Island Green, where the green is totally surrounded by water. It's technically a peninsula due to the walkway in the back, but who's keeping track? The pin was located in the front of the green, and Fox was aggressive. His ball checked a few feet past the hole and rolled back perfectly. I've seen that before, dropping to the bottom of the cup. So nice job, Ryan Fox, with that. And I think we're just about out of time, Big D. Rolling out. Back to you.
9 Wayne 9 on YouTube says golf is not a sport. I take tremendous issue with that comment. You slow it down there.
Come on
now. All right, as always, we salute our military, active and active police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us, all our truckers, all our farmers, everybody that keeps the country moving. Thanks to David Zier, Rick Ammirati, Rick Delgado, Aaron Frank. Great job as always. Most of all, thank you, the live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night to wrap up another great week right here, Real America's Voice, live from Studio 6B. We'll see you tomorrow night.